Tonight, two early season tests with playoff energy in Detroit. The Pistons look to prove they belong against last year's East leaders, the Cavaliers. Out west, Denver heads to Minnesota seeking revenge after a season sweep, but the Timberwolves may be without Anthony Edwards. 2 games, 2 statements waiting to be made. And greetings from our Temecula studios. I'm Ryder Bullock. Welcome to the Hardwood Report. Tonight we turn our attention to Detroit, where the Pistons host the Cleveland Cavaliers in an early season Eastern Conference clash. Tip-off set for 7 p.m. Eastern, and while the calendar still reads October, this one carries the weight of a mid-season measuring stick. Both teams enter at 2-1, jockeying for position in a crowded East. Cleveland, 6th in the conference, arrives with the pedigree of a 64-win campaign last season. Detroit, 8th, is looking to build on a 44-win year that saw flashes of promise and plenty of grit. The Cleveland Cavaliers finished last season 64-18, dominating the Central Division with a 12-4 record. They averaged 8.2 steals and 4.3 blocks per game, while taking care of the ball with just 12.5 turnovers per contest. Tonight, they are favored by 2.5 points, with the total set at 231.5. The Detroit Pistons went 44-38 last season and were 29-23 against Eastern Conference opponents. They allowed 113.6 points per game and committed 20.7 fouls per contest, a factor worth noting against Cleveland's aggressive backcourt. Comparing the teams, Cleveland's strong defense, low turnover rate, and dominance in the division give them a clear edge. Detroit's higher foul rate and weaker defensive numbers could be exploited by Cleveland in tonight's matchup. Availability will be a storyline tonight. Cleveland's Darius Garland is out with a toe injury, and Max Strus won't suit up due to a foot issue. For Detroit, Jaden Ivey remains sidelined with a knee injury, while Karis LeVert and Marcus Cesar are listed as day-to-day. Without Garland, expect Cleveland to lean heavily on Donovan Mitchell's shot creation and Evan Mobley's interior presence. Detroit, meanwhile, will need Cade Cunningham to orchestrate with precision and poise. The Pistons' depth will be tested, especially if LeVert is limited. 2 teams with playoff aspirations, 2 rosters navigating early season injuries, and 1 matchup that could tell us a lot about who's ready to rise in the East. From the Motor City, it's Cavaliers-Pistons tip-off at the top of the hour. And now we pivot westward from the hardwood in Detroit to the high-stakes showdown in Minneapolis. Our doubleheader continues with a compelling Western Conference matchup. The Denver Nuggets visiting the Minnesota Timberwolves tip-off at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And while Denver no longer wears the crown, they remain one of the league's most complete and dangerous teams. The Denver Nuggets finished last season 50-32, going 8-8 in Northwest Division play. They excel at opportunistic scoring, averaging 17 points off turnovers, 14.4 second chance points, and 26.4 bench points per game. Tonight, they're favored by 4.5 points, with the total set at 228.5. With a healthy roster and Nikola Jokic anchoring the offense, Denver's depth and execution remain their calling cards. Expect Jamal Murray to push the pace and the bench to keep pressure on Minnesota's rotations. The Minnesota Timberwolves went 49-33 last season and were 33-19 against Western Conference opponents. They were strong at home, going 25-16 at the Target Center, and feature a solid defensive backbone with 8 steals and 5 blocks per game. They average 13.7 turnovers, a number they will need to manage against Denver's transition attack. Rob Dingleham is day-to-day, but the Wolves will rely on Rudy Gobert's rim protection to set the tone. If they can control the glass and limit Denver's second chance points, this one could go down to the wire. Matchup to watch is Jokic versus Gobert, a battle of contrasting bigs. Joker, the cerebral orchestrator, Gobert, the defensive anchor. It's a duel that could swing the game's rhythm and reveal which team is ready to climb the Western ladder. 2 teams with playoff pedigree, 1 marquee matchup, and a chance to make an early season statement. That game coming up at 9:30 Eastern Time. More on those games in a moment, but first, here's what's trending in the NBA. The NBA is reevaluating its legal sports betting policies following a federal investigation that led to the arrest of veteran guard Terry Rozier and Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups. According to a league memo obtained by ESPN, the NBA is reviewing its injury reporting protocols, personnel training, and integrity monitoring systems to better protect players and staff from the risk associated with gambling. The memo, distributed to all 30 teams last Thursday, comes in response to allegations that Rozier conspired with a childhood friend to profit from insider information about his playing status during a March 2023 game. Federal authorities say Rozier informed De Niro Laster that he would exit early due to injury, allowing Laster to sell the information to gamblers for approximately $100,000. Sportsbooks in multiple states flagged unusual betting activity on Rozier's prop bets, prompting them to halt wagers before tip-off. Rozier left the game after just over 9 minutes, citing a foot injury. Chauncey Billups was also indicted separately for allegedly participating in rigged poker games with ties to organized crime. Former Cavaliers player and assistant coach Damon Jones was also named in the investigation. In total, 34 individuals were arrested. The NBA memo emphasized the need for stricter regulation on position bets on individual player performance, citing heightened integrity concerns. The league is exploring the use of artificial intelligence to synthesize data from betting operators, social media, and other sources to detect suspicious activity. Minnesota Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards will miss at least 2 weeks due to a right hamstring strain. Edwards sustained the injury early in Sunday's game against the Indiana Pacers and did not return. The Timberwolves initially described the issue as hamstring tightness. Edwards has played in 426 of a possible 445 games in his career, including playoffs. Rookie Cooper Flagg delivered a breakout performance in the Mavericks' first win of the season. The number one overall pick scored 22 points, grabbed 4 rebounds, and dished out 4 assists in a 139-129 victory over the Toronto Raptors. Flagg's highlight came in the third quarter with a soaring and one dunk that energized the crowd and sparked a 26-9 run. At 18 years old and 309 days old, Flagg became the 5th youngest player in NBA history to score 20 or more points in a game, joining Jermaine O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, and LeBron James. He also becomes just the 2nd player alongside Bryant to score 20 points without committing a turnover before turning 19. Dallas previously ranked last in offensive efficiency and saw 7 players score in double figures. Anthony Davis led the team with 25 points, while D'Angelo Russell added 24 and 6 assists off the bench. That's what's trending in the NBA. Let's get to games happening tonight. The Orlando Magic taking on the Philadelphia 76ers at 7 p.m. Eastern. Philly comes in hot, unbeaten, while Orlando looks to bounce back after splitting their first 2 games. The Sixers are dealing with Paul George with a knee injury. Tendon Watford, a hamstring, is day-to-day. Jared McCain out with a thumb. Magic have Jalen Suggs and Moritz Wagner listed as day-to-day with a knee injury. Key stat, Orlando scored 105.4 points per game last season. Philly dished out 23.2 assists per game. Atlanta Hawks at the Chicago Bulls, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hawks are looking to climb out of the early hole versus a Bulls team riding a win. Chicago missing Kobe White with a calf, Zach Collins a wrist, Atlanta's Kristaps Porzingis with the flu, and Jalen Johnson an ankle are day-to-day. Bulls scored 117.8 points per game last season. Hawks were slightly behind at 47.2% field goal shooting. Toronto Raptors at the San Antonio Spurs, 8 p.m. Eastern. Spurs aim to keep their perfect start rolling against Toronto. Rolling against Toronto. The spread is Spurs 4.5, over under set at 232.5. San Antonio has a slew of day-to-day injuries, including De'Aaron Fox, a hamstring, Jeremy Sohan, a wrist. Raptors are healthy. San Antonio allowed 106.7 points per game last season. Raptors averaged 10.9 points per game. Oklahoma City Thunder at the Dallas Mavericks, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Thunder looking to extend their streak. Mavericks hope to find traction. The spread, Thunder 7.5. The over-under is set at 226.5. Dallas is missing Kyrie Irving with a knee and Daniel Gatford with an ankle. The Thunder key injuries: Nikola Topic with a groin, Alex Caruso a concussion. Thunder dished out 26.9 assists per game last year. Mavericks allowed 115.4 points per game. Memphis Grizzlies taking on the Golden State Warriors, 10 p.m. Eastern. This is a Western Conference clash with both teams at 2-1, and injuries are piling up. The Warriors are missing DeAnthony Melton with a knee. For the Grizzlies, Zach Edey, Brandon Clark, among others. Zach Edey with an ankle injury, Brandon Clark with a knee injury. Grizzlies scored 121.7 points per game last season, while the Warriors allowed just 110.5 points per game. Portland Trailblazers at the Los Angeles Lakers, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Lakers host the Trailblazers after Austin Reeves' 51-point explosion versus Sacramento. Trailblazers are a 1.5 favorite. Over-unders 224.5. Lakers are missing LeBron James with a nerve injury. Luka Doncic a knee/finger among others. Blazers will be without Damian Lillard and with his Achilles. LA averaged 26 assists per game last season. Portland scored 110.9 points per game, but allowed 113.9. That's what's happening tonight in the NBA. Now let's focus on tonight's Eastern Conference clash between the Detroit Pistons and Cleveland Cavaliers. This serves as more than just a regular season matchup. It's a benchmark moment for a Pistons team aiming to prove its playoff legitimacy against the reigning division powerhouse. Detroit enters the contest riding a 2-game win streak, including a comeback victory over Boston in their home opener. Cade Cunningham continues to lead the charge, posting 25 points and 8 assists Sunday, while Jalen Duran and Azure Thompson delivered dominant two-way performances, combining for 45 points and 30 rebounds. Head coach J.B. Bickerstaff emphasized internal accountability over external expectations, stating, "We have a standard that we live to. We believe in our guys immensely." The Pistons, who snapped a 12-game losing streak to Cleveland last March, now seek their third straight win and a chance to measure themselves against a Cavaliers squad that finished atop the Eastern Conference last season. Cleveland, meanwhile, arrives on the second night of a back-to-back after edging Milwaukee 118-113. Donovan Mitchell led with 24 points, but Evan Mobley stole the spotlight with a stat-stuffing performance, 23 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks, and while going a perfect 12 for 12 from the line. Mitchell praised Mobley's growth, saying, "That's the progression, coming to get the ball late." Sam Mayo continues to impress in Garland's absence, averaging 20.5 points through 3 games. DeAndre Hunter returned from injury with 16 points, and Lonzo Ball added 11 off the bench, showcasing Cleveland's depth. With both teams at 2-1 and early season momentum on the line, tonight's matchup offers a glimpse into the Central Division's evolving hierarchy and whether Detroit's resurgence is built to last. Tip-off at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Moving on to Game 2, the Denver Nuggets 1-1 visit the Minnesota Timberwolves 2-1 in a Western Conference matchup that carries early season weight. While Denver enters as the betting favorite, Minnesota swept the season series 4-0 last year, a stat that adds intrigue to tonight's contest. Team from Denver is coming off a dominant 133-111 win over the Phoenix Suns on Saturday, converting as a 13-point favorite. The Nuggets shot 51.2% from the field, won the turnover battle 20-16, and out-rebounded Phoenix 43-38. Jamal Murray and Christian Braun combined for 43 points, while Nikola Jokic posted a triple-double with 14 points, 14 rebounds, and 15 assists. Minnesota Timberwolves edged out the Indiana Pacers 114-110 on Sunday, but failed to cover as a 12-point favorite. The under 228.5 hit, and the game was marked by the early exit of star guard Anthony Edwards due to a hamstring injury. Julius Randle stepped up with 31 points, and 4 other Timberwolves reached double figures to secure the win. Key injuries: Nuggets, no injuries reported. Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, a hamstring. Status uncertain. Keys to the game for the Denver Nuggets, it's Jokic's command. Jokic's ability to control tempo and facilitate from the high post is unmatched. His triple-double against Phoenix was a clinic in efficiency and vision. Backcourt production, Murray and Bron's combined scoring gives Denver a balanced attack. If they stay hot, Minnesota's defense will be stretched. Turnover discipline. Denver's ability to limit mistakes and capitalize on opponent errors is a major advantage, especially on the road. And then for Minnesota, Edwards' availability. If Edwards can't go, Minnesota will need to rely heavily on Julius Randle and secondary scores to keep pace. Defensive rebounding. Denver thrives on second chance points. Minnesota must box out and control the glass to stay competitive. Bench depth. With Edwards potentially sidelined, Minnesota's bench will need to contribute early and often to match Denver's scoring depth. Tip-off set for 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now to tonight's pick and play betting lines via BetMGM Sportsbook. Tonight's spotlight, Nuggets versus Timberwolves money line. Nuggets minus 220, Timberwolves plus 180. The spread, Nuggets minus 5.5, minus 115. Timberwolves plus 5.5, minus 105. Over under 228.5. Over minus 115. Under minus 105. Denver is rested, rolling, and sharp. Minnesota, second night of a back-to-back and maybe without Anthony Edwards. That's your signal. I'm taking Nuggets minus 5.5. I think they control the pace, control the game. With Edwards out, under 228.5. Denver slows it down, keeps the Wolves out of rhythm. This is textbook rested favorite versus tired underdog. Cavaliers at Pistons. Money line, Cleveland minus 148, Detroit plus 124. Spread, Cleveland minus 2.5, total 231.5. The play, Cleveland minus 2.5. Detroit still finding its footing under J.B. Bickerstaff, and Cleveland stars Mitchell and Mobley will dictate the pace. I'm going under 231.5. I expect a half-court battle. Mitchell will drive, Mobley will protect the rim, and Detroit's defense is better than last year. But I don't expect a shootout. And finally, keys to the game. Keep momentum going. Cleveland has won 2 straight and will look to maintain that rhythm. Their second quarter surge against Milwaukee 36-25 was key to pulling ahead. The Cavs need to avoid slow starts and continue building leads early. Limit turnovers. Both teams have had turnover issues early in the season. Cleveland had plenty against the Bucks, and Detroit wasn't much better against Boston. Protecting the ball and minimizing easy points off mistakes will be critical. Rebounding battle. Detroit dominated the boards against Boston 55-38, and this was a huge factor in their win. The Cavaliers must contest rebounds, especially defensive boards, to limit second chance opportunities. Free throw production. Detroit excelled from the line, 32 for 18 in their win. Cleveland shot 28 free throws against Milwaukee. Both teams need to stay aggressive and finish at the rim to draw fouls and capitalize from the charity stripe. Perimeter shooting. Cleveland hit 12 threes against Milwaukee, while Detroit struggled from deep. 9 made threes against Boston. Controlling the three-point line could swing the game, especially with Donovan Mitchell and Cade Cunningham leading the way. Key player matchups, Donovan Mitchell versus Cade Cunningham. Both are the primary scorers for their teams. Whoever gets the edge in efficiency could tilt the game. Supporting cast, players stepping up beyond the stars, especially in scoring and rebounds, could make the difference in a tight matchup. That'll do it for the Hardwood